Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing. We're glad in it. Today is Friday, September the 1st, 2023. We're in a new month, and we're super excited about all the endless possibilities that we have throughout this month of September. In the words of my wife, this is going to be a September to remember. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, September the 1st, 2023. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And you, my friends, are watching the Ramonepreston show. Do me a quick favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag absolutely lolly dolly everybody and let them know that your boy, Ramonepreston, my squad, we are all live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And today we're going to be talking about the four building blocks for business. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a go-getter, you're looking at starting a business, what we're going to be sharing with you on the show today is going to help you maximize all your business activities. It's going to show you how to leverage your business as a whole to get you to your business and your financial next level. So please do me a quick favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag lolly dolly everybody, and make sure you put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from, who you representing on this beautiful Friday, September the 1st. Put it in the comments. Let me know who you represent, what city you are watching the Ramonepreston show from. Let your boy know. Now, before I get started, a couple things I want to cover very quickly. Number one, I want to say thank you and congratulations to all of you who have signed up for our one-day live virtual business boot camp that we're hosting tomorrow, Saturday, September the 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm doing a one-day deep dive. So for all of you that have signed up, you've registered, and you have gotten access to your business bootcamp bundle, I want to say thank you for trusting us to educate you, and I want to say congratulations to you. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a prime example of what the right knowledge and what the right education can do for you, okay? So even though I am an educator, even though I sell online courses, I host events and seminars throughout the year, I'm a preacher, I'm a business consultant, I'm a coach. So I do all the stuff that you see all of the social media and internet gurus do. And I don't apologize for that. But as a person, as a consumer, I know what knowledge and education has done for me. Okay? I am pretty much self-educated, meaning that, you know, I don't have a formal education. I've never been to college, and I just had to roll up my sleeves and strap up my boots, and I had to figure life out. I had to figure business out. I had to figure leadership out, and I'm grateful to God that He has navigated me to this place that I'm in right now in my life. And no matter what people may think about where I am in life, I know where I come from, and I know what knowledge and education has done for me. I have read, I can't even count how many books, you know, how many years I've studied and researched. I've experimented with a lot of concepts and principles that have given me the ability to be where I am. So I do not downplay the importance of knowledge, the importance of education. So for all of you that you are knowledge seekers, you're looking for information, you're looking for ways to become a better person, to become a better leader, a better entrepreneur, to have more success in your personal, professional, and financial life. I'm telling you, whether you accept what I say or what anybody on the internet says, at some point you're gonna have to invest money in your education. Like, I went a long time not putting a whole lot of money behind my education other than buying books, maybe going to seminars or events that were, you know, very costly for me. We're talking about like maybe a couple $100 it cost me to go to a one-day event or something. and it helped me. It helped me. But once I started really getting exposed to different levels of knowledge and information, I realized real quick that the information you get for free is different than the information you get when you pay. The information you get, let's say at a one-day event, is different than the information you get when you're in a community for a long period of time. So I'm not saying the information that's free is not valuable, because when you watch shows like this, when you preview content on channels like my channel and other internet coaches and mentors and educators channel, you get information. But it's different when you're a part of a community. It's different when you are investing a lot of time and money and energy behind being in the right rooms. It just changes everything. So we're not going to downplay the importance of knowledge, the importance of education, the importance of community and mentorship. But for all of you that have already taken me up on my offer to join me tomorrow for our boot camp, you should already have access, exclusive access to our business boot camp bundle. If you are interested in joining me tomorrow and being a part of this one-day virtual business boot camp, while I take 6 hours to do an in-depth deep dive on things that I'm gonna be talking about today, and I'm gonna answer questions all day, I'm gonna help a lot of people really put a business system together. So if you're interested, all you have to do is look in the comments. Inside of the comments, you're going to see a number with the word boot camp. You just take the number and you text boot camp to that number, and one of our millionaire concierges, they will reach out to you, get you signed up and onboarded, get you instant access to our business bundle, and you can start training today on the videos and on the modules, and you can show up and join me tomorrow and have your questions ready so we can help you build a legitimate business and scale that business to the next level. So with that being said, again, I want to say welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. Just in case you don't know, I'm your host, Ramonepreston, okay? Every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, just like today, we're live, Friday, September the 1st. I show up here in the middle of a busy day and I share information with you because I want to educate you. I want to heighten your awareness on how important building a legitimate business is, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you want to be an entrepreneur. So today we're going to be talking about the 4 building blocks for business. The 4 building blocks for business. Now, if you follow me or watch my content, or if you engage on any level with me when it comes to my social media presence, like if you watch my videos, if you follow me enough, maybe you're on my email list, maybe you get information from us on a regular basis, you should already know these 4 building blocks for business that I'm going to be talking about today. They're like the hallmarks of my programs. They're the hallmarks of my teaching, of my business philosophy, because without these 4 building blocks, it's going to be very hard for you to not just build a successful business system, but really leverage that business system and scale that business system. So again, today we are talking about the 4 building blocks for business, okay? The 4 building blocks for business. Now, all of us, we've lived long enough that we should know what building blocks are, okay? A building block is a foundation. A building block is a pillar, all right? So if I had to draw a building block, which I'm not the best artist, but if I had to draw a building block, I would have to create like 4 of these so that you can understand these would be building blocks. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3, you got 4. So if you want to be successful in business, your business needs to be built on certain blocks that can sustain it. A lot of times when you build a business or when you start a business, If you don't put that business on a solid foundation, then you really don't have anything for your business to stand on. And you wonder why 9 out of 10 businesses fail. You wonder why most entrepreneurs today are solopreneurs. They never have any money to hire people. They never gain any traction in their business. They don't sell enough products and services. They don't market themselves. They just don't have no resources or no support to really get things going. Why? I think a lot of it has to do with how they start their businesses. And starting a business is not just about you having a whole lot of paperwork, whether it's a business plan, whether it's a set of core values that you put together, a manual, whether it's your paperwork from the Secretary of State. None of that mean nothing when it comes to business, okay? So we're talking about today the 4 building blocks for business. I would consider these to be building blocks. So the first building block is the holding company. It's a concept that I think people in business are getting familiar with, but I don't think they're familiar with it enough. I would say most entrepreneurs are not familiar with the holding company enough just yet. They're not familiar with it enough. I don't personally think so. One of the reasons why is because if you talk to, let's say, people who put businesses together or people who file and form paperwork for LLCs, most likely they're going to tell you, well, you're a small business, you don't need a holding company. Well, they're right. You don't need a holding company. But if you want to build a successful business and you have plans to invest in real estate, you got plans to acquire other businesses, you got plans to not be on the hamster wheel, like grinding every day as an operator of a business. If you got plans to grow and expand, then having a holding company is going to become a building block for you. It don't mean you can't build your business with one single LLC and then just circle back around at some point and start or structure a holding company. It just means if you can set it up correctly today and then use it as leverage to really parlay more opportunities while you grow, why not do it that way now? You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I'm from South Florida, so we grew up fishing. We used to fish in lakes. We used to fish in ponds. We would fish in the backwoods. We'll find creeks to fish in. We'll go to the beach. We'll go to the river. It's water everywhere in Florida. So we grew up fishing. But here's the thing. You're not going to go fishing and just bring a few pieces of bait. And then when you throw your hook out a couple times, you run out of bait, and then you got to go all the way back home or to the bait shop. No, you're going to bring enough bait and enough hooks and enough poles, enough fishing line, tackle. We call it tackle, right? You're going to bring enough of this tackle so that when something happens out there, you can tackle the problem because you got the tackle. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you ain't going on no picnic and ain't bringing food. You're going to bring food with you. So when you're going into business, when you're preparing to be successful, if your goal is to create a big, massive, successful business, you want to be a millionaire, you want a multi-million-dollar business, you don't want to be a mom and pop business, you want to expand, you want to hire people, you want to do big things, then why don't you just bring all the tools that you need or could use once you start tackling certain problems that come up? Am I making sense? Well, in that case, the holding company would be considered a building block, because once you do it right the first time, you ain't got to keep coming back around redoing it every time you want to make a change in your business. That's all I'm saying. So the holding company is one of the 4 building blocks to a business. I would say asset management is another building block for your business. Now, when I say asset management, first thing come to your mind is Wall Street, hedge funds, maybe Silicon Valley, tech companies. I'm talking about you using concepts like the holding company, which is a multi-layer, multi-level business entity concept, using that to parlay your ability to manage assets. So let's think about it. if you own an LLC and that LLC is a holding company, right? Let's just go through this one time. If you own an LLC and your LLC is a holding company, and then your holding company as a LLC owns other LLCs, that by default is asset management. Because to you, the main LLC that you own, which is a holding company, is your first asset. If that holding company owns ownership interests in other LLCs, which are categorically considered subsidiaries, then what that means is your holding company owns assets. So the more you learn about asset management regarding holding company type structures, the better off you are. Because when you understand asset management as a owner of a holding company, I want you to understand this. When you understand asset management as an owner of a holding company, you will start realizing how valuable certain things are that you have in your life. Like, for example, if you walked in here in my studio and you were not familiar with a digital whiteboard, right? Let's say you were not familiar with this type of board and you saw this white thing sitting around. You wouldn't know the value of this thing unless you know about this whiteboard. Do you understand what I'm saying? The moment I educate you about this whiteboard and explain to you that this is a digital whiteboard, this is the pen that you use to write on this whiteboard, because without the pen, you can erase with your finger, but you cannot write with your finger. You would say, oh, wow, this pen is an asset to this actual whiteboard. Well, it's just the same as when you set up your holding company. You have multiple LLCs, you got multiple activities going on, and then you start learning asset management of an owner of a holding company. Now you start looking at things different. Oh, wow, maybe my savings account can be an asset to my business. Maybe my 401k, my IRA, my retirement account, my stocks and bonds, maybe this piece of land that I got, maybe these 2 vehicles that I have titles for, maybe the house that I got a deed for. All of a sudden, you got all these things that you're looking at that you realize, if I can take these things, transfer the ownership of these things to this enterprise, these things can become assets that increase my net worth, increase my enterprise value, increase my ability to go into the marketplace and actually make more money. Am I making sense so far? Am I making sense so far? If I'm making sense, I want you to put in the comments, bruh, you're making sense to me today. You giving me the game. You showing me what it's about. And guess what? I'm going to be doing a deep dive on all this tomorrow. So from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow, during my live virtual business boot camp, I'm going to be going deep on these 4 building blocks. I'm going to go deep on holding companies. So if you are a do-it-yourselfer and you don't want to pay people like me or other companies to file and form your paperwork, to draft your operating agreement, to set up your holding company, we can do that for you. We have a corporate services division here, but if you don't want to pay somebody to do it for you, or maybe you do, but you just want to be familiar with what that process looks like, I'm going to cover that tomorrow during the boot camp. And with this business boot camp bundle, I'm giving you 1 year access to a course so you can learn this stuff yourself. At least you need to know how it works. Because if you're going to own a holding company, even if you pay me to put a holding company together for you and to put operating companies together for you, subsidiaries, I still want you to know how it works, what the process is, and what you should be thinking about doing regarding the holding company and how you manage the day-to-day operations of it. Asset management. Once you start identifying with assets, you can start accumulating assets and then integrating them into your business. And what I mean by the integration, before I go to my 3rd building block, what I mean about integrating an asset into a business is, for example, if you own a holding company LLC and your holding company LLC owns a LLC which is a subsidiary. Let's say you have a certain asset you want to integrate, you want to put into your business. Should that asset be put inside the holding company, or should it be put inside the subsidiary? That will be determined based on what the asset is, number one, and then based on what type of activity you need, what type of operation you need. So for example, if you have the asset of intellectual property, okay, IP, we call it IP. If you got intellectual property like copyrights or publishing rights or a trademark or something that is intellectual, you might have a certain proprietary process that you use for whatever service you offer or whatever products you put together to sell. Let's just say you have IP, you got intellectual property. Should that intellectual property be owned by your subsidiary, or should it be owned by your holding company? Well, most likely it may need to be owned by your holding company. It may need to be used. It may need to be used by, let me make sure my mic is on. Okay, my mic is good. It may need to be used by your subsidiary, but it should be owned by your holding company. So when you integrate that intellectual property to your holding company, you can have some type of agreement between the holding company and the subsidiary, so the subsidiary can use the intellectual property. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just giving you like a broad, paintbrush stroke of the power of asset management as it relates to your holding company. So those are two of the four building blocks for business. The third building block is creative tax strategies. Now, I always like to tell people, first of all, I ain't a lawyer. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. I don't even consider myself a bookkeeper. I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, that's what I am. I'm a cold-blooded entrepreneur. I'm a go-getter. I'm a business owner. I'm a visionary. I'm a grinder. I'm a hustler. That's what I am. I'm a cold-blooded entrepreneur, like most of us are. Most of us don't have time for all this other stuff. We understand that there's a demand for it in our business, but we don't want to really do all that. I'm saying that because when it comes to creative tax strategies, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax strategist. I pay a tax strategist to help me strategize on how to minimize my taxes, maximize my deductions, forecast into the future to see what type of business activities I can participate in that are either non-taxable or that are taxable, but I can have certain deductions. Now, you don't have to be the expert in this, but you gotta at least know enough to know how to manage your day-to-day financial activities as an entrepreneur. So the things that I teach my students and mentees regarding creative tax strategies is not the legal side of the tax game, not the technical side of the tax game. No, you need to have a tax person for that. I'm just showing you as an entrepreneur what I've learned and the things that have made me a better entrepreneur regarding my financial accounting, my day-to-day tracking, what things have made it better for me so that I at least understand what's going on when I talk to my tax person. Most entrepreneurs don't know that. And I have proven clients, mentees that I've worked with, that I've shared and showed them the things that I know about finances, about accounting for business and the basics of bookkeeping and a lot of the creative tax strategies that me and my tax person have utilized and implemented. And they've gone back to their tax person who didn't know anything about certain things, and they like, we don't understand it. And then they fired that person, went and found a better person, and then they come back to me and they're like, wow, man, that helped me. I have more confidence. Because a lot of times what you think is you're going to just have a QuickBooks account, you're going to track your income and expenses or profit and losses, and then next year when it's time to do your taxes, you're going to call a tax person and say, can you do my taxes? And then you give them access to your QuickBooks account, or you send them some type of spreadsheet, and then they tally up your taxes and tell you, oh, you owe like 40 grand or 20 grand in taxes, and you mad and upset, blaming them. It ain't their fault. They're not responsible to run your business. They're not responsible for the day-to-day financial accounting responsibilities or management details of your finances. They're not responsible for that. And you are not going to pay them to run your business. I don't care how much money you pay them. So this is a very important strategy, because what happens is, let's just assume you start a holding company. You set up 2 or 3 different LLCs under the structure. You have a holding company that holds and owns assets. You have subsidiaries that are out there working. They out there making money. They out there selling products and services. Let's just assume you set up that type of holding company, that type of structure. All right. Then you learn about asset management. You start becoming more than just a business owner, more than just an operator, more than just the transactor. You become a CEO, a real asset manager, because now you're looking for ways to grow your business exponentially. And then what happens is, once your business or any of the businesses that you own, once they start making money, what is the next problem you're going to have? I'm going to tell you what the next problem you're going to have. It's going to be a tax problem. That's the next problem you're going to have. And if you ain't on top of your financial activities, if you don't know how much is coming in, how much is going out, how much is left, how much cash is collected, and if you're not able to track that on a month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis, so that you can start forecasting into the future to see how can you participate in certain business activities to minimize your taxes and maximize your deductions, you're going to find yourself in a whole world of trouble. That's not what you want to do. Taxes are your biggest expenses, but creative tax strategies can be one of your biggest leverage points. Don't nobody that I know personally become a millionaire. Don't nobody that I know has built a successful business, we're talking about 7 figures, 8 figures and beyond, without utilizing creative tax strategies. You got to. Why do you think a lot of celebrities and athletes and people who and artists and, people in the music business, they make all this money and they end up broke? Like, how did you end up broke? Most of them end up broke, but before they end up broke, they end up in tax trouble. Why? Because probably they didn't have the right business systems structured. They probably didn't accumulate the right assets because they spend their money on all liabilities. And most likely, they didn't even think about the financial accounting side. So they weren't even participating in things that could lower their taxes and maximize their profits. That's why creative tax strategies is one of the 4 building blocks for a business. And last but not least, operational systems. Let me tell you something. If you plan on being an entrepreneur, stop playing. Stop fooling yourself. Stop you tripping if you don't have some type of general operating system. You tricking yourself into believing you something you ain't. I'm telling you. Like one of the best conversations I ever had. It's 2023. I think this was 2015. So that's 8 years ago. One of the best conversations I ever had was with one of my CPAs. This was a CPA I was working with. He was on the other side of Atlanta. That's when we lived on the other side of Atlanta, the south side. And I lived in Stockbridge on the south side of Atlanta for 14 years, me and my wife. And we had a CPA there. Great guy, still a great guy. We don't work together anymore because I relocated, and I like having people right where I'm at. That's just me personally. But anyway, we had a meeting one day. We sat down. He was helping me do some stuff in my business. We had some business opportunity we was looking at the time. This is 8 years ago, 2015. And I remember he looked at me, he said, "Ramon, you're not a business owner." And I was like, at first I knew not to get offended because I know what kind of person he is. He's very matter of fact. He He don't tiptoe around. He's a straight shooter. And I love that about him. And he's unemotional. So he said, Ramon, you're not a business owner. And I was like, well, what you mean? I thought he had some little angle. I'm like, I don't understand where he was going with it. So I was like, what do you mean? He said, you're an entrepreneur. He said, you're not a business owner. He says, technically, you ain't really gonna be a business owner until you're like at least at $1 million. He says, but let's just move the $1 million threshold off the table for a moment. He said, you're really not a business owner until you have people and until you have like systems and stuff. He wasn't specific with a general operating system. He didn't say that because that's not his lane. He's a tax person. But he was explaining to me, you ain't a business owner, bruh. You just an entrepreneur because you don't have no employees. You ain't even got a QuickBooks system set up right. I'm trying to help you with that. He was helping me with that because him and his staff, they do QuickBooks training. Matter of fact, I was sending my now administrator over there to him for her to get training to work our QuickBooks account. And he was like, you're not a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're not a business owner until basically, this is where it works and this is where it applies to y'all that's watching me. You can't really say you're a business owner until you put a legitimate general operating system together. What is an operating system? An operating system is basically a combination, of platforms that you are using to track all the activities for your sales, your marketing, your financials, your administrative activities, and your executive activities, at least those 5. So what that means is you have certain technology, software, platforms that you can go to. We live in a world where we have technology right at our fingertips, phones, apps, computers, tablets, and these platforms are technological houses that you're able to put all the information in for what you're doing with your marketing, with your sales, with your administrative activities, when you have certain projects and things that you want to track the data for, or the KPIs. You want key performance indicators to see, like, what am I doing in my marketing that's working? What am I doing with my sales that's working? Do I have certain processes that I use for my administrative department that's working? How do you track all this stuff? Well, it's going to take a couple different platforms, but they can either be integrated together, or if they're separate, they still work cohesively together because you know how to run it. This is what makes running a business easier. When you don't have a general operating system, I already know what you're doing. You waking up every day and you just putting on hats. You marketing, you selling, you doing administrative work, you working on the website, you setting up appointments, you servicing a client that's complaining, somebody's returning an item that didn't work. You doing everything and you wearing multiple hats. But the problem is, even if you hire somebody to come help you, how are they going to track the stuff that you can't track? You need a GOS. That's why this is a building block for business. So I just went through four building blocks that will determine the failure and or the success of your business. You gotta familiarize yourself with this stuff. Now, can you learn this stuff in a couple days or in a boot camp like what we hosting tomorrow and figure it all out? Maybe if you're a genius. Otherwise, it's gonna take time. You gotta start learning these concepts, and then you have to conceptualize these concepts, meaning that once you start learning them, it starts grooving into your mind, and then it starts making sense at a certain point. It ain't gonna happen overnight though. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to give yourself time. But if you never start, you ain't gonna never figure out how these concepts work. These are business concepts that you gotta learn. If you plan on being successful in business, if you plan on building a massive enterprise. You ain't gonna build no successful, massive enterprise without understanding things like holding companies or business structures, without understanding asset management or how to integrate the right assets into your business and how to use them to leverage for funding. Like when you go into banks, you need leverage. You need leverage. Just having a credit score or having a job with, like pay stubs is not always the only leverage point that certain banks are looking for. Sometimes your leverage points are how you have your business structured and set up, how many multiple business activities you got going on, and what kind of assets you have inside of those entities that give your company or enterprise more value. You have to familiarize yourself with at least the basics of creative tax strategies so that you know how to track your income and expenses. You know what is left. You know how much cash is collected. You know how to forecast into the future so that you can participate in certain business activities that minimize taxes and maximize profits. And you definitely got to learn how to put together a general operating system for your business. If you don't want to end up bald like I am, you want to learn to put a general operating system together. All right. So those are the 4 building blocks for business. I would love to get some feedback from all of y'all that's watching the show. Let me know what you heard today that brought the most value. Like, what is your biggest takeaway from today's show? Can you please, yes, Lula. Lula is laughing at me because I said you're going to end up bald like me. You sure is. You're going to end up bald just like me. I'm bald. But hey, some of this is because of stress. Just the stress of trying to figure out how to make some of this stuff work. Like, I'm honest with you. Like, it ain't been easy for me. It has not. It's been worth it, but it ain't been easy. Because again, I don't have a college education. I feel like, I'm like late to the party when it comes to a lot of things in business because it took me a long time to figure out a lot of this stuff. And I didn't have the connections and the relationships, the money and the resources to get some of this stuff early on in my entrepreneurial journey. I just had to read and study and experiment and practice and fail and mess up and try stuff until I got to a point to where I felt like, man, I got a formula and it's working for me. So when I share with y'all things like holding companies, asset management, creative tax strategies, operational systems, it sounds like, man, you done figured out, you done went to Columbia University or Harvard or IT and you just done figured this stuff out. It's just because I'm so determined to succeed. And I know in order to succeed, you just gotta have a strong, solid business structure. And you gotta have systems, you gotta have a lot of knowledge. You gotta know how to play this game. And it ain't easy, but it's worth it. I'm trying to make it a little easier for all of you to show you that, okay, yes, I offer courses that you have to buy. Yes, I offer boot camps like I'm hosting tomorrow. It's $97. Like, you pay $97, you get 1 day of training with me, plus you get 1 year of unlimited access to 4 courses. So for those of you that are watching, if you would like to join me tomorrow, this is your last opportunity to join me. If you would like to join me tomorrow, I'm giving you access to 1 VIP ticket to join me for my boot camp tomorrow. If you can't stay the whole day from 10 to 4, just jump in and out as you wish. And then after tomorrow, we will upload the replay so you can always go back and rewatch whatever segments of the boot camp you want to rewatch. But you also get 1 year unlimited access to all 4 of my training programs. So I have a training program on holding companies. Like, anybody that's watching this, if you have taken my holding company course and have gone through my startup kit, I want you to put it in the comments, like what it did for you, how it helped you understand holding companies. I don't know if anybody has as much in-depth information on one course on holding companies. All right. We have a walkthrough video tutorial startup kit inside of this holding company course. And we got the documents and the forms that you need, whether it's for filing and forming your paperwork, drafting your operating agreement, if you need an asset transfer agreement or you need some licensing agreement between your entities. We have all that paperwork inside of that holding company course. So I'm giving you one VIP ticket to join me tomorrow. I'm giving you, let me see, let me put that in there. Let me just add all this together, okay? We got one VIP ticket. You get 1 year unlimited access to 4 courses. I'll just use the word course. 4 courses. Come on, baby. 4 courses. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get our holding company course. You get our asset management course. You get our tax strategy course. And then you get our systems and processes course. So everything that I just talked about, you get 4 courses for 1 year. So you get the 1 VIP ticket and you get 1 year access to those 4 courses. So if you would like to join me tomorrow for the 1-day business boot camp where I take 6 hours to do a deep dive on holding companies, I'm going to do a deep dive on this, asset management, deep dive, tax strategies, deep dive, operational systems and processes. You get all that for $97. The ticket to join me tomorrow virtually and 1 year unlimited access to those 4 courses. So if you want it, look inside of the comments. You're going to see my team. They're in the comments, in the chat. They put a number. Grab that number and text bootcamp to that number so we can get you instant access, get you signed up today. All right? Ms. Lula said, I don't mind going bald as long as you are here to help guide me to get to the next level. I got you, boo. I got you. I'm right here with you. I'm going to help you get to the promised land. Believe that. I ain't leaving nobody behind that's rolling with me, because you know just well as I know, if you're with me and we're connected, especially when you're part of any of my courses or my programs, I share everything I learn along the way. Any new creative concept or principle or strategy that I learn that helps me succeed or grow or expand or whatever or win, I'm sharing it with my community. And I share it on my channels as well, my social media channels. But I don't always have an opportunity to share everything. So I appreciate y'all for joining the show today. Hope it brought some value to you. Again, tomorrow we're hosting our 1-day business boot camp. It's going to be a live, virtual, private deep dive that I'm doing. I'll be standing or sitting or both right here in my studio tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I'm going bananas. I'm going to give you all the game. I want to show you all the ins and outs of holding companies, asset management, tax strategies, and operational systems and processes so that you can at least have those things put in place. And as a bonus for the $97, you get the boot camp tomorrow. You get the replay. You have access to it for 1 year, but I'm going to give you 1 year access to these 4 courses so you could keep studying and learning and training and educating yourself. So look in the comments. You could see a number. My Millionaire concierge have put their information in the comments. Text bootcamp to that number so we could get you onboarded and get you going today. All right, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining the show. Again, congratulations and thank you to all of you that have already signed up for our boot camp tomorrow and have taken me up on the $97 offer. I look forward to hearing testimonies from you. I look forward to getting some insight into how the courses are working for you and helping you now that you're already signed up. I'm looking forward to answering your questions and making sure that you have everything you need to really put a successful business system together. If I don't see you tomorrow, we'll be back here Monday. Same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon, right here, y'all, on the Ramonepreston Show. Peace. Have an amazing Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you. Hopefully, I'll be here Monday. I don't know. I might be here Tuesday if I take the day off. I'm not sure yet, but if not, Monday, we'll be back Tuesday, 12 o'clock noon live on the Ramonepreston Show.